Hi, so my name's Adina, and my wife Robin and I have been living in Estonia for a little over a month now. We came in the hopes that we could relocate here and eventually become citizens. It was really hard finding information that seemed to line up and be consistent, and when we found information that made it seem like we'd be able to come here, get work visas through a job, and then residence permits, and from there be able to pursue living here and working and eventually settle, maybe start our own business. We thought we had everything lined up. We had the money. We came to Estonia. We had cushion room and money to last us a couple of months, and now we're reaching that couple month mark. And when we first got here, we looked for work, and place after place said, okay, well, it costs extra money for us to hire people from not the EU / not Estonian people. So we had to figure out information. So we tried going to the embassy, and the embassy said you had to go to the police / border guard for information. And after we sent emails and contacted border guard, police, and the like, we got the information that the quota for business and work permits has been met for the year, so they aren't accepting any more of that, and the only one that would be possible for us to go for would be school-related visas so that we could stay, which we currently don't have the money for schooling, because that wasn't our initial plan to go for. And the next semester is starting literally the beginning of next month, and we're already halfway through August, so beginning of September would be when classes start up, and so we aren't able to get into any courses because it's too last minute. We don't have the money, and we don't have the money for classes, and we also don't have the money to make it to that point where we're at now. So now we're left with the earth-shattering fact that we're going to have to go back to America, and we hate that thought because ever since coming here, we have had culture shock of the best kind. That everything that America teaches us, and apparently a bunch of other countries, is that America is wonderful, you should always stay there, visit other countries, but call America your home. And all the people that we talk to here pretty much are like, oh, what's America like? It's good, right? And when we tell people that it's shit, that the government sucks, that things don't get done, the food is crap, and they don't look out for their people, and everything's expensive, and it's all about money, and schooling is ridiculous, they seem to have knowledge that school in America is expensive, because I think a lot of people look into potentially going into college in America and then realize it's really fucking ridiculously expensive, and they decide, well, I guess European schooling is better. Well, it would be great. I would love to go to school. It's $2,000 for a semester for getting your bachelor's in a marketing business arts program thing, and it's awesome. Anyways, so we don't want to go back. I mean, the fact that for citizens, Estonian citizens, you can get your bus passes for free. Your transportation, it's provided because you're a citizen and you need to get around and, get to your jobs and whatever. And for us, as visitors, it's 30 euros a month for our bus passes, and you can get anywhere. You don't have to worry about car payments. You don't have to worry about your car insurance. You don't have to worry about gas or vehicle maintenance, because none of that's on you. You don't have your own vehicle. You don't need it. And if you need a vehicle for whatever reason, Bolt is so damn affordable. It's so great, and there's zero hassle. It's phenomenal. There's bus stops everywhere. There's buses and trains and trams and trolleys always leaving every so often. If you're in the country, maybe it'll be every 20-30 minutes, but it's that's nothing. that's nothing. It's so convenient. And it's lovely. It's so lovely. It costs so much less to just live here. I mean, the money you get paid a month is about, people make a little around 1,000 euros a month for your income at a job. But the amount of time you have to work is not ridiculous at all. It's probably less than you'd have to work in America in order to get by, obviously, because, I mean, you could work full time and have really fucking fantastic pay, but it's not really gonna give you much wiggle room because you've got so many expenses, like your phone and rent and food and transportation and insurances and phone and cable and Wi-Fi, and everything costs money in America, whereas here it's like, oh, there's your transportation and your food's really cheap and it doesn't have any preservatives or any of the other gross stuff in it, and you feel so much healthier. And I don't have problems with allergies here.
I don't have problems with foods.
My wife doesn't have problems with foods here, and it's so wonderful. So thinking about going back to America is like pulling teeth. I don't want to think about it. It's going to be a wreck. We're going to have to get used to things and also try and apply what we've learned here to make our life in America better for the time that we have to be there before we can afford to come back and try again, now that we have the information that we needed in the first place, which we wish we could have found before we moved. But for whatever reason, it's always harder to find information in a place you're going to when you're not there yet. So it was, I think, necessary for us to end up here to find out the information. It's just really unfortunate because it's cost us so much money. It's cost us time and frustration. And so we're probably going to have to set up a new, few-year plan for us to save and come back, because it's going to cost money. Everything costs money, but at least we know what our goal is, where we're heading, and it's wonderful that we know what we want to do and where we want to live and where we want to call home, and that's Estonia, and it's wonderful, and I just can't wait to come back. I can't wait to come back. So we're going to be starting our journey back, and I think we'll be seeing America with fresh, less than loving eyes, but hey, it's just really a pity that America's always seen itself so high and mighty and wonderful, and that people from other countries end up seeing it that way too, because media is not reliable for your information at all, and people seem to just, still put America on some sort of pedestal, which is ridiculous, because as soon as we start telling them about things, they're like, oh, we never heard of that, and we never heard about that, and oh, that's really shit. And so it's like we open up their eyes to the horrors of America, and then they're like, oh wow, that is really crap. But they don't hear about that otherwise. And we come here, and we were always told horror stories of, oh, you gotta watch out for this and you gotta watch out for that, and it's like the things we were told to watch out for aren't actually things we've had to watch out for. They aren't problems, which is wonderful. I mean, that's really great, but it's just proof of how unreliable sources can be, and first-hand experience is by far the best teacher that you could ever have, and it's not so scary to just jump and try it, because how else will you learn? How else will you learn? And so we came here and we immersed ourselves, and we've learned a bit of the language, and we've learned about the culture, and we've learned about what decent human rights should be like, what the country should make available to you as just a state of quality living, of what you deserve to have because you live in the country that people, are trying to run, and things like that. So
the government takes care of its people and does things in the best interest of its people.
The government takes care of its people. That's what it's supposed to be. They are in service to us, not the other way around. And that's what America does. It slaves us, it makes us into slaves, it controls us, it dumbs us down by making education so expensive that we can't afford it. It makes our food crap so we're sick all the time and we need medicines to make us feel better, and the stress of working, and not having even hardly enough to scrape by to keep us in our place that they want us, so that the 1% can thrive, the government can control us, so that people are ill-informed, don't have their educations, and cannot become the best they can be. That's what it is. That's what is happening to America. And I could see it when I lived there. I knew I was sad, I knew I was stressed, I knew I was working harder than I should have to just to not even get by, and I knew I was depressed, and I knew I was on meds, and I knew that it had to do with my state of living and my quality of life, but I never realized how much that was created by the country I lived in, and not just because the world can be shit. Because when I came here, it wasn't shit. They took care of you. They have opportunities provided to you. Things are clean. Everyone has the money for decent clothing, and they're happy, and they go out and they socialize, and they don't drink to forget. They drink to sing and socialize and talk about their wonderful days, because they have wonderful days, and they spend time in parks, and the elderly can get themselves around, and they spend time with their families, and they're not alone, and they're not cooped up, and they don't die in their homes because they've lost their will to live, because no one comes to visit them anymore.
Even the cemeteries here.
Even the cemeteries are visited. People light candles. They visit every day. There's so many people that go through, and they're well kept, and they're beautiful, and there are trees everywhere. The city is clean. The air is fresh. I don't have problems with my allergies. And we walk through the cities, and the streets are quiet. Like, you don't hear just honking and tires and businesses and sirens all the time. You hear the wind blowing and the trees, the leaves rustling, and it's beautiful. There's moments where it's quiet in the city during rush hours, and there isn't congested traffic. They restore buildings instead of tearing them down, so the culture and the architecture and their history stays alive, and it's beautiful. And every single place of this country is touched and loved and cared for. People can enjoy their walk through the city, because even if there are alleys, they're clean. They don't have weeds. They're not scary. I've seen like one weird, sketchy alley, and that was just...
It was next to a restorative area.
It was next to a restorative area that was in the process of being renovated. And when places get cleaned up and fixed up and cared for, that in and of itself, the fact that this country cares for its infrastructure and its people, all of that deters the development of scary back alleys, and it deters crime and everything like that, because they have video cameras up for security, which is a wonderful way to deter crime. And people get their educations. They're not starving for scraps. They're not working their ass off, and they're not tiring themselves out and burning themselves out at tiny, mediocre jobs that push them into a sense of fear, like, where is my next meal coming from? So people are happy, they have what they need to survive, the country is beautiful, it cares for itself and its people, and so it's no wonder that there isn't as much crime. It's no wonder that this place thrives so beautifully. It's no wonder that I never want to leave. So, when I go back to America, my eyes will see differently now, because I knew America was bad, but now I know it is horrible. And it's created itself that way. Other places are thriving, and we in America think that the rest of the world is shit and that we're doing all right still because we're hanging on to the last shred of something, but we don't really have it. We don't. America gives us a mirage, like an oasis. It says, you got it. It's right there. Just gotta work hard, reach for it, and it's wonderful. You'll have a great life. You'll have water. You'll have shelter and shade, and you'll never reach it. You're never gonna reach it in America. You're never gonna make it. Just go. Go with every last penny you've got. Plan it out. And leave.
It was worth all of my savings.
Yeah.
To find where I wanted to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It was worth our money to come here and find out that this is where we want to be. Even if it takes us a second time of trying to get back here, we're gonna make it. Because now we know where our home is, where our heart lies, and that gives us the energy to keep going. Even if that means that we have to try and go back to America and save up our money and come back. Now we have a purpose. Now we have a future home. So, it'll be alright. I feel like I really want to try and help people see America for what it really is. And what it really needs to try and strive to be like. To be like how Estonia runs. Be like how the EU runs things. We can be happy. We can be healthy. We can enjoy our lives. So that's what we're going to do. No matter what it takes. No matter how long it takes. We'll get back here. 'Cause this is what we deserve. In the very least. This is what we deserve.